Hello, Sandra.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good. You can hear me okay. Good.
I can, yes.
Hi, Heather. So nice to meet you, finally.
Lovely to meet you, and I'm so sorry about the email confusion. I don't know what
I,
happened there.
it
But
was so weird because I got three emails, but they were receipts, which is great because you want to know you pay for something. But I was just really surprised because
I
it came so quickly and I paid. I know I paid. That's good. But I just said it just surprised me that there was no kind of follow up. And then when I
yes,
got your messages yesterday, I go, well, that makes more sense. So,
yes.
but
Well, and it's a bit of a weird situation because two things we'll find out in the soul reading anyway. But when I sent the messages through, I didn't realize you weren't getting them. And then
of
I
course,
also sent the next one that said, oh, I don't want to find out anything about you on LinkedIn, so I'm just going to go radio silent. And then I didn't think anything of it because I had said that, which in itself
oh,
is unusual, but most of the time I don't actually have the problem of someone new coming in and saying having a soul reading and then going, oh no, I don't want to see their LinkedIn profile because I didn't want to know what you did and what you were about. I wanted the reading to come through
I love
without
that. And I appreciate that. I didn't connect with you probably for that reason, it subconsciously. And then I thought, oh, I probably shouldn't have asked for a connection request until afterwards, but
but then
I
I
I
realized we might not
but
be
I
communicating. So I
yeah,
went,
but I believe everything happens for a reason, and I
yes,
go, I'm not going to place too much importance on that. I mean, there's a reason why I wanted to do this in the first place because I had heard about the Akashic records. Oh my God, I probably 20 years ago,
yeah.
but I don't hear people talking about it. And then when I saw you talking about it, it was like, oh my God, like I have to find out more. So
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
very, just got chills, like, so I know I'm doing the right thing. Not that I
Well,
questioned it.
and in a way, I knew you were doing the right thing as soon as I saw. Normally, I don't try to look at somebody's intentions either. They'll send them through, usually after an email, and I will not look at them on purpose because I don't want my conscious mind to interfere with the reading. And it wouldn't,
Cool.
but I try to have as much objectivity as I can. And that's one way that I try to control that. But your intention was right there at the top of the order email. And I went, oh, I didn't want to see that. That's all right. She gave me all the rest of your information so I could go ahead and start your reading. And I'll tell you what happened at that point in just a moment, but I want to just let you know what we're doing today, just so you understand how the call will work.
Yes, I want to know everything.
Yes, yes. So I'm going to go over, first thing I'll tell you is about what happened when I first doused your record, which is slightly unusual. This doesn't happen with everybody that I do a reading for. And then I'll go through your divine soul blueprint and just give you a summary of your energies. We'll then take some time and go through what those energies are so that you can understand that. But I'll give you a brief summary to begin with. Yes.
Can I ask a question? Do I get this recording too?
Yes, you do.
Okay, that's all I
Yes.
want to know, and I won't interrupt again.
No, and you're fine to interrupt if you feel it's necessary, but we do have a lot to go through in an hour and
Okay,
15 minutes.
okay.
But at the same time, the last 15 or 20 minutes is all about questions. So
Oh, okay,
fingers
great.
crossed, but do ask along the way if it's really important because it obviously needs to come out. So
Yeah, I am one of those people.
understand and your energies speak to that very clearly. So I kind of knew that actually. Um,
Okay.
so the first thing that happened when I do a reading, I check with the Akashic records and say, does this person's higher self want me to do their reading? And if the answer was no, I would have refunded your money instantly and said, I'm not the right person to do your reading. There's nothing wrong with you. They're just, this is not the
There's
right.
not a connection. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But the Akashic, your higher self in the Akashic records said, yeah, this is good. But there was some confusion. And one of the questions that I ask, and it means nothing really, is does this soul have a shell? And the answer came back yes, which I went, oh, okay, I have to do something else before I can actually read your record. And what that meant was that something has happened. Well, let me tell you what a shell is first. A shell is an emotional body of someone who has passed or transitioned on the earth. And when they passed, their soul has moved on and their body has passed.
That's good to know.
Their emotional body has decided to kind of settle around you as a shell, and it will have caused confusion. It will have caused, let me see the exact words, because your intention jumped out at me when I saw this, and I went, that's exactly what's happened here. It will have distorted your energy by about 30%. So you still would have had 30% of your naturally aligned energy, which your record states you're very well aligned with your energy. But this will have been causing 30% confusion.
Can I ask, does it show you how long that has been around me?
Yes and no. Time in the Akashic records is a bit gray, but it can give general times. And this was recently. This was in the last few years.
Okay, makes sense then. Completely makes sense.
Date.
I know exactly what it is. It's okay. I got it now.
Okay.
Yep.
I figured you would. When these things happen and I go, this person's gonna think I'm crazy.
No,
most of the time someone knows what it is.
No, I know exactly what it is because I needed the time because there could have been something else, but I know exactly what it is. So we can talk about that later.
Okay. Well, what happened, and you don't have to have known this person that passed. It's just that you had to be in close proximity to this person for this to have happened. And that energy was cleared on Saturday afternoon, because that's when I actually did the reading to check with your record. And if I couldn't have continued, sorry, I understand it can be very emotional.
I cry when I'm happy, sad, confused, or whatever, but because something did happen recently. So that's very interesting. I felt a clearing. I had a dream and it just felt like, whoa, like it was really strong. I can't even remember the dream, but I remember remembering the feeling. And I was like, that was so real, So anyway, go on.
Oh, that's and I'm so glad, because when I saw this and I did the clearing, that's why I sent the first email that said, you may feel that your intentions are slightly different now because this cloud is gone and your energy is restored to what it was before, and you were in alignment with your energy before. Now, this soul that has passed was a negative soul, which is nothing bad. They just don't draw their life force energy the way that we do. And in our culture, we probably would think that most of them might be from a different area of life than we are, mostly because they draw on our energies. But if you were surrounded by people who were like that, who were drawing on your energy, this mask will have made it look to them as if you weren't someone to draw energy from. So this was done out of you accepted this out of
it was protection. Yeah,
exactly. And at this point, you no longer need this. So it's been cleared, because that's, I think, what caused you to contact me. I think that in itself was the main purpose of this reading, was to clear that.
Well, I contacted you before that, though, didn't I? I contacted you.
Contacted me, but this clearing was
happening.
Well, it was to make this clear, to clear your energy at that.
Oh, did I book this on Saturday?
Yes, you did.
Oh my God, because I had been thinking about it for days and then it just wasn't happening. And then I guess, and I said, oh, I don't have my credit card with me, so I can't do it. And I kept putting it off. And then Saturday, obviously I was like, okay, I got to do this right now.
Yes. And it's because that energy wasn't stopping you from doing it at that moment for whatever reason. So, wow. Okay. Thank you for it's confirming for me to hear these things as well. So as much as I'm always blown away.
That's the gift that you have. Anyway, so yeah.
Thank you. But just so you know, I'm just a translator. It is your
but can I need to interrupt only because there's something, because it's there. Can can a spirit come across as negative, not because it's negative, but because they are not in alignment their entire lives? Is that possible?
Yes and no, in the sense that they can have masks of protection where they're representing themselves as negative, but they are actually positive. And in this case, your soul would have been considered negative by my reading, which is why I had to clear this other negative. And it wasn't a soul. It wasn't a negative soul that had created that shell. It was their emotional body, is all it was.
Okay, that makes more sense. Because the person was not a negative person at all, but
And
they had a cloud over them their entire life.
oh wow.
Yeah, they had a very hard life and a very horrible death.
Oh no.
And it was very traumatic.
Yes. I'm very sorry to hear that, because that's very disturbing.
They were I call them a tortured soul.
Yeah.
I called him a tortured soul, and he was just protecting me.
Yes. And those are the exact words that came out
Yeah.
with all of this.
Yeah. It's okay. Okay, we can move on. I just I had to say that because they were a very positive force
Yes.
in my life for 22 years. So
and negative doesn't actually mean bad, but negative does usually mean that they will come across as a tortured soul, in the sense that they can't quite get their hand on their own life.
And that until death, it never, so that's, I hope I know he's in peace.
Yes.
now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the good news is that he can start with a clean slate going forward. So
yeah.
that is
He needs that. I'm hoping that he resolved his issues that he carried with him for 66 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And he will, because when we do pass, we go back to that
Release.
one light, the love that is there, and that heals everything.
Thank God. Yeah. Well, I know that inherently, but it's nice to hear, because I haven't spoken to anyone about that the beyond the body part, because I inherently know, and I was like so grateful when he passed. But because but yeah, anyway, it was my husband.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, 6 years ago he passed.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's so difficult.
Well, it was at the time, like, it was hard going through his illness, because it was ALS, which is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. And we had lost, well, I'll go into it after. Let's just go. Sorry, I can keep talking.
Thank you. We'll go into your divine soul blueprint, and your energies, the energies that make up you as you originated originally from the divine source. And this is many, many, many lifetimes ago. You had chosen to make up your body of 31% of divine communication energy. So communication, the realm of the teacher, the realm of the word, is 31% of your energetic makeup. Now, you also have a strong secondary energy, which not everybody does, but it can cause a little bit of confusion for us, because when our primary energy makes up about 50% of our makeup, we know kind of what we are and what we're doing. And when there's two energies, it's like, well, they can kind of intermingle, and they always work well together, because you will have chosen them together for a reason. But I do find it very interesting, actually, that your secondary energy center is wisdom, divine wisdom.
Okay.
This is the wisdom of the universe. And so it's an inherent universal wisdom. The ability to make things simple if they're complex. So you can take something that's very complex and just, this is step 1, 2, 3, and everybody else goes, it can't be that simple. And you're like, yeah, it is. And you just know, you have that common sense that other people should have, but they just don't. So
would you call that more spiritual common sense than?
Oh yes.
That's where it's coming from, because like sometimes you feel you know something but you didn't learn it. It's just, but you learned it on the other side, and it's
Yes,
coming through. Okay.
yes. And you're able to be in alignment with that energy. You've got those learning experiences. They are accessible to you in this lifetime because of your wisdom. You will have better access to that than the average person. So
When I'm in tuned, because I have been, and I know that I was not in tune with my spiritual side for many, many years. And I noticed last year a bit of a clearing. And I started talking about it online, and I got so many people, like, and I think that that's a connection that I can have with people, and I want that to go further. I want to be connected with my spiritual side. And I told people that story, like, I know that I've been blocked because of the grief that I was suffering for such a long time, and it was blocking anything coming in.
yes,
And now it's like I can feel it more and more coming, and then when you said that, the clearing, I was like, oh,
yes,
that to me is such great news, because I know that he was just trying to protect me.
yeah.
And we were so connected, like really, really connected. Like we were together every single day of our relationship, with the
Wow.
exception of maybe a couple of months when he moved to Mexico before I did. So
Um,
um
oh, how
that's
beautiful.
yeah,
That's
we were like honestly, when I look at other relationships, we had maybe 5 arguments in 22 years. We just were so
wow.
aligned in what we wanted and how we wanted to move forward. So, that's why, it's hard for me to when people say, are you dating? I'm like, I had the perfect person already. Like, it's not important to me.
Yes, I
This is
understand
important.
that.
What we're doing right now is important to me.
Yeah,
This is what means something.
I
So anyway,
understand that from my own personal relationship. I would have no reason to look for anybody else because my
yeah,
partner is my
you're fulfilled.
is
You were
yeah,
fulfilled
yeah,
completely, like completely fulfilled.
yeah.
And then he goes and dies on me.
Well, would
But
you have something else to do in this lifetime?
I
And
do, and that's what I'm here for. Because
yeah,
I've been blocked. So
yeah, yeah. Well, let's find out a little bit more about your soul
yeah.
group of origination. And so we have these energies that I talked about, the communication and the wisdom, and I'll get into detail on those in a little bit. But where you incarnated first will have affected your energy because you will have adopted the characteristics of that soul group. Now, the weird thing is that you actually, because this is not normal, it's not that it's not normal, it's very few people come for a soul reading who have originally incarnated on Earth. So your first soul group that you incarnated was here on Earth many, many years ago, or many lives ago, I should say. But you didn't stay here very long. So that energy, you resonated with it when you first came here, but then you realized, no, I actually want to do something else. And so you've moved to an area called Spica. And that soul group of origination, that energy, you spent many lifetimes there. So you will have more resonation probably with Spica than with the earther souls. But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Can you spell that?
Spica is Spica, and I'm not sure if that's Googleable in the sense that
No, I don't care. I just kind of want to know that, so that if I do have dreams or visions or something, that
yes,
yeah, that's all.
yeah, because some of the soul groups are what we would, for instance, I'm Pleiadian, so most people have heard of the Pleiadians. And so we can
That
Google
was
them.
the Daniel named my husband named his first company Pleiades.
Oh, wow. How amazing. He must
That
have
was way
resonated
before I knew
highly
him.
with it.
That was like way before I knew him, but he had a company called Pleiades or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So that's
Wow.
so interesting. So Spica is a planet, or is it, what
It's
is it?
an well, the home planet. It's an area of planets, but the home planet didn't have a lot of souls on it, so it's actually had lots of space and very few souls. So having space around you may be something that feels very comforting.
I was gonna say it sounds just like me because I'm a loner. Like if I don't have to be around people, I am thrilled. But I
Well,
can be very social at the same time.
yes. Well,
But
the
it has to
other,
mean something. Like I don't like small talk. I want to talk about this kind of stuff. Like I want to talk about something that means something.
yeah.
So I can come across as a kind of bitch or cold, but it's just that I'm not interested in talking about the weather anymore. Like I want to talk about stuff, you know?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but the speaking soul group characteristics are exactly what you just said.
That's what makes so much sense.
That you care so much, but you can come across as
Yes,
cold because if it's not what you want to talk about, then other
I don't
people will
care.
think, well, that's cold. But
I don't
you said
care.
it out of your own mouth. So you do understand the characteristics of your soul group.
I do. I embody those characteristics. That is
You
who I
do.
am.
You do.
Yeah. Oh,
That
that
was
makes so much. See, this is making, I love this because it makes me feel, not that I need to feel accepted or normal, because I actually like being unusual,
yes.
but
Yes.
it validates for me why I am the way I am, aside from where I was born, who I was born from, because those people that I chose to be born by are just people that I chose,
Exactly.
but
And they
I'm
created
so
life
different from the rest of my
circumstances.
family. Like I've got 5 siblings and we're like they're more alike, but I'm like I moved to Mexico like 25 years ago
Yeah.
without an explanation.
Yes.
So
Well, I've moved to Scotland without an explanation either, really. So I actually feel like we might have a little bit in common there.
yeah, I think so. Uh
So just some interesting things about your soul before we get into the energies is that at some point in your life, and I don't have an age range around this, you have asked for more assistance from the divine in your heart chakra. And this will have to do with asking for help with self-love, relationships, and you may have felt for a time period emotionally shut down or disillusioned to be asking the universe. And this is just something that happens in this lifetime because we're all connected at our heart chakra anyway to vital force energy. When we go to sleep at night, that's where we revitalize. We connect and we wake up, hopefully refreshed, unless there's other things going on. And you've asked for more strength at your heart chakra, basically. And so that happened at some point, but I'm not sure when. But it also talks about your soul vibration rate is quite high. So you are very spiritually aware, which is basically what that means. And it comes in as a number of 5.7, not that a number means anything, but it is quite high. So
okay. That's good to know because we talk about I talk about like high frequency vibrations because my breath work person that I met just a few months ago, but again, this is when I was starting, actually, yeah, it was probably in March or something like that. And she said, you're like, because when I do the hypno breath work, I said, I feel so much pressure in my heart. Like when I was doing it, you're laying there and you're doing the double breath in, and so it's almost like you're hyperventilating. But I said the pressure, it's like I don't feel like I'm having a heart attack, but there's so much pressure in my heart. She says, you are so guarded. Your heart is, and now when I do the breath work, it's cleared. Like the breath work's helped clear me.
Well, it's
And
definitely
even
helped.
the tingling, and so she said that right away, like your heart chakra is like, it was basically closed, but I was closed for business after my husband died. But
Wow. Well,
so
that work has developed this secondary God spark for you. That's
absolutely,
beautiful.
yeah,
You're going to see some wonderful things out of that. And it doesn't relate to love, like romantic love. It relates to self-love and being able to do what you want to do and actually make it happen. So now,
that's wonderful.
speaking of that, this was very exciting for me because
I'm excited.
I've not come across somebody who has what they call blue lights, and you have blue lights around you. And that's because you have more than 30 white lights around you. Now, what white lights are multidimensional beings. And they're just
Wow.
little energy bits that are happening. When you set an intention, you are so disciplined about following through that these white lights go, oh, we're going to help you. because we know you want to get to point from here to there, and we're going to help you. And so you have loads of these white lights just saying, here's a light bulb moment, or a word show that stands out on a shelf, and you go, that's the word that I needed to know. And there'll be no explanation for why that's happened, but it's the synchronicities that happen that are caused by these white lights, so much so that you have a blue light that actually guides you as well.
I have one blue light.
You have one blue light, but to be fair, one blue light is huge.
Huge. Well, it almost made me cry again because I'm very emotional.
Yes.
And just the thought of having 30 white lights around me makes me feel so safe.
Yes, and you are. You are.
I know I'm protected. I've always known I'm protected, but you don't know what it is that's protecting you. So having some validation like that is just huge.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes.
Beautiful.
There are things called spheres of protection that we have. And you have 1.4 of them, which is actually a good number. And I know it sounds like low because it says 1, but anything more than 0.5 is an enough. It's like an aura around you, and it's your own energy. So when you have spheres of protection, your own energy is there protecting you. Now, it's not as much as I've seen in some other cases, and this might be because of the shell. And so now that that shell has been cleared, your spheres of protection may raise to 3 or 4 even.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
based on your white lights and the blue light.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Well, it's funny because back when I first met Daniel, so we were still in Canada at that time. So we're probably yes, it was. I was with Daniel. So it must have been 1995. This woman who was doing my hair, she was kind of had psychic abilities, and she said, your aura is turquoise and blue.
Yeah. Oh,
like that's what she saw. So ever since then, I've always thought turquoise and blue, and that's why one of the reasons I chose my colors.
Yes.
Was because of that. And even though that's not the people say branding, well, that's not the right thing to do, is to choose colors you like, but that's what felt right for me. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And that was in alignment for you. If somebody else did that, it might not be in alignment for them.
So interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So that blue light, maybe she saw that blue light.
It might be, although they can come and go. So it may be that it wasn't there then, or it might have been. It's hard to say. So
okay. Cool.
They do come and go, but right now you've got a blue light helping you and loads of white lights. So that's
30.
So now we'll talk about your energies a little bit, and then we'll get into your soul stories, which will be related to your intentions for the reading. So the main intention being you thought you knew what your soul purpose was, but not so sure now. Now, if you've set other intentions since then, I did ask the record, and I know this sounds very hooey, but if I ask and it says yes, I go with it. And I asked the record, is it okay? Because technically they should be set in stone before I do the reading, because that's what makes me feel confident that your higher self is giving me the reading for your intentions. But when I asked, it said, yes, it's fine for you to set other intentions for this, and they will come out through the blocks and restrictions that have already happened. The funny thing is, when I did the reading, I thought the main reason for this reading was the clearing of the shell. And then I'm like, well, why are there blocks and restrictions? So I think they knew that this was going to come about. So they'll
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
So your divine communication, that makes up 31% of your divine energy. We all have 8 energies, and either 1 or 2 will make up about 50% of our energy. And divine communication is exactly what it sounds like. It's all about self-expression and authenticity. This is the realm of the teacher, somebody who can take learnings, understand how it works, and not regurgitate it, but to use their own experiences to guide other people through what they have learned. So it's not somebody who can learn something and repeat it. This is about taking your own life experiences and helping to teach other people how to either you know, avoid these problems or to do better in their lives. So
Mhm.
it is about the written and spoken word as well. For people with this energy, words can take on a substance or a taste even. And so if you're doing something with words, it is your way for creating abundance in your life. Now, you also have wisdom, so there's other ways as well, which is this simplicity aspect. So this is where you may not find that words necessarily do that, but your communication is your gift. Because when you're speaking with someone, your wisdom, which is interesting because you have divine wisdom as well, but your wisdom comes out through that conversation with somebody. And sometimes you'll be having a conversation with someone and you just go, no idea where that came from, but that was really good.
That's me. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I just like, I'm on a roll. Like you're in a flow state.
Yes. And that's your channeling when you do that. And the fact that you have the
Interesting.
wisdom energy as well, so strong. It's 25.5%. I have no idea why it decided to give me a 0.5%, but it did. It was very clear it was 25.5%. So but
So interesting.
yeah, the divine communication. Basically, people with this energy will be highly verbal people. And oddly enough, that slightly conflicts with the wisdom energy because people with wisdom energy are very concise. So you have the wanting to talk, but you have a lot to say, and it's going to be very succinct. So what you say should be listened to, is what this is telling me anyway. So
Yeah, who doesn't want to be listened to? Yeah.
well,
It's so interesting because I it's conflicting for me because I don't feel when I speak that I'm a very good communicator. So it's something that I feel I need to work on. But when I write things down, like that's why I write like when I write my posts, it's very therapeutic. It's
yes.
very therapeutic, and people are shocked because I share everything. I have no secrets. I share the ugly, the shit,
Yeah.
the good stuff, the bad stuff, and I think I'm getting better at talking, but when I hear people telling stories, I'm so like I'm all over the place. Like I'll start somewhere and I'll go over here and then I go I don't even know where I started with this conversation, and
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 that's
to me it
okay.
makes no sense.
Yeah, but that's okay because what you're doing is you're taking the energy of the situation and using words to be able to help that situation. You're using your
Mm.
wisdom, and it may
Aw.
feel disjointed, but that's the direction thing. Sometimes people need to be drawn to another aspect, and
Okay, well,
sometimes
I'll
what you're
trust
doing.
you on that one instead of people
Yeah.
thinking, "Gosh, what the hell?"
But it can be that it's written or spoken word. So it doesn't
Okay.
necessarily have to be the spoken word, but I'm guessing that maybe the wisdom is interfering a little bit in the sense that you're probably thinking, well, I should be direct about this because that's what wisdom is. Wisdom is a very short, concise, direct information. And yet
Mm.
your communication energy is, but there's just so much to say. And we've got so much we've got to cover. And you know, so there
Yeah.
that I can see how that would conflict. And I
Yeah,
get
that
that.
sounds like my brain. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it does make sense then. It does.
Yeah, it makes sense. Actually, that's the nice thing about it is that it makes sense to me now. Like it because I always wonder like where am I going with this? And I'm thinking this at the same time that I'm saying all the stuff or whatever I'm saying. I'm thinking this is not where you started off. You got to tie this up, and then I can't remember where I started, and then I go, oh, what am I
It's,
gonna do?
and it's okay because what you're doing is what's needed for the situation.
Okay, well,
So
I'll trust you on
I wouldn't
that.
worry about it. But in that sense, that you're taking people on the journey that they need to take, because that's what communication does. It helps to let me just read the actual words. Helps other people change at the level of thought and mind by introducing new ways of looking at life through written or spoken word. And
Wow,
so if you're
I just
taking
got
people
chills.
down another avenue, then that's right for you to be doing. because that's what they need to be paying attention to, not maybe what the subject was to begin with. So you're very good with that. That's great. So
Thank you.
now, if your communication falls on deaf ears and people are not listening, and it's not a two-way street, people are talking at you and they're not listening to you, that is a situation that would need to be addressed. Either by saying, okay, I've tried to address this with this person, they're not listening to me and all, or maybe we need to just walk away from that situation.
Oh, that just happened.
Oh, wow.
I do this, well, again, see, I believe we choose our family for a reason. And I just had this discussion with my brother. It was probably on Saturday that my sister's gone down to the dark web and conspiracy theories and all the stuff.
Yes.
And she and my siblings are all in their late 60s. I'm 59, but they're 69, 68, 67. And my sister's in the middle of that. And the one brother's neutral, the other brother's like me, like, what the fuck's going on with her? And she sends the stuff. She sends it through email. Yeah. And I don't read it. I just delete. My brother saves it so he can use it against her if need be. You know, when it comes to that point. And I say, well, I don't want that energy in my feed. So
I agree.
So I delete it. But I also said to her, I blocked her on Facebook Messenger because she was sending stuff that way. And I said, look, I asked her nicely. Yes. I said, please don't send me. Please don't send me. She didn't respect it. She kept, and then she said, oh, it was an accident. And I was like, well, I don't need any more accidents, so I'm going to block her. I didn't tell her that. I didn't tell her. I just did it. And then the emails started up, like, and getting a little more and more. And I see the subject matter. I go, well, this isn't a family email. This is this bullshit. So I finally just got to the point up to here. Yep. I said, look, please, can you please stop sending me this? I've asked you this before. I'm just asking you nicely. Can you please stop sending me this stuff? And then she sent an email saying, I can't, I want to address this, but I don't have time right now. But you know what's going on in Mexico? And I'm like, don't tell me what's going on here. Wow. So I just said, I don't need you to address anything. I need you to respect the fact that I don't want these. I don't read them. And I was a little nasty. I said, I don't read them anyway. They go right in the trash. If it has to do with family, I'm very open. I'm trying to keep the lines of communication open with you because I cut people off. Like, it's not difficult for me.
And that shows you're in alignment, because
but I don't want to do that with her. Yeah. So I asked my brother how he was feeling, and he said, yeah, I can't even have a discussion with her anymore. But she thinks she's right. So you can't argue with somebody who doesn't, whose facts are not facts. Like, they're just fake facts. And so
your wisdom energy speaks to that as well, because it's not common sense what she's spouting. And so your wisdom energy is going, I just can't deal with this. And you really,
I don't want the energy. I can't.
But
I don't have time.
You're so much in alignment with your energies, as your reading did indicate to me, that you are very much in alignment with what your energies are, your strengths are. And so that is wonderful that you're
it's great, but it's sad.
You need to do that.
Yeah.
So
no, I have to protect my energy. I do. And I never like wasting time. I never have. Yeah. But it's hard because she is family, of course, but you can't have a conversation with somebody when they don't, that's not, they just, there's no beliefs that we're the same anymore. Like, you know, so it's really hard. But anyway, I don't let it bother me.
On a family level, then you can address it.
Well, yeah. And that's what I told her. I said, I want to keep the lines of communication open. So please stop sending me this bullshit. Yeah. I didn't say bullshit. I just said, please stop sending me this stuff.
Makes sense. Well, you're very much in alignment with your communication energy, and that is great. Okay. So that's wonderful. Now, the divine wisdom, it is the connection to the inherent wisdom of the universe. People with this energy are thoughtful, introspective, and they're excellent listeners. And so they give insightful, succinct advice. Now, your communication energy probably makes that a little bit less succinct, but at the same time, it is that wisdom that comes through when you're talking. And that is beautiful advice that you'll be able to provide for other people. It's always rooted in common sense and rational thinking. And that sounds exactly like what you've just been saying.
Well, that it makes me feel really good because I need these kind of affirmations make me stronger in that I'm on the right track.
Yes.
Because again, I don't have a lot of feedback. My husband was great feedback, like, and I just have my dog because
Yes.
I'm a loner.
Yeah.
You know, I don't ask for advice from anyone. I just don't, because I'm very guarded in that way. Like, I protect myself.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, I've started to ask for help. I start to see who I can trust.
Yes.
But I don't trust my sister, so I don't share anything with her because she just, like, you know, even if that's the whole thing. I said to my brother, I said, you don't know this, but I've told her many secrets in my life, and she just, after a certain time limit, I guess she feels it's not a secret anymore. But when I ask you to keep a secret, I expect you to keep it because there's a vault there. Yeah. And so I said I don't share anything with her anymore that is a secret, because she doesn't seem to respect boundaries at all.
Yes.
So
very
anyway,
true.
And she's older than me. She should know better.
You should know better. I agree.
Anyway, I know I'm making this longer. It's just, this is so fascinating for me.
No worries.
Very excited.
We'll get there. People with the wisdom energy are highly intelligent and have an uncommon common sense, because common sense is not common.
It's not. I say that all the time.
So I think you're very in alignment with your wisdom as well. People with this energy are deliberate, thoughtful decision makers. So when they make a decision, and it does sound like this from what you're saying about you are very guarded and you don't share things where you don't think is appropriate, and you're very careful about things, and that's a deliberate, thoughtful decision maker. So that sounds very much like you're in alignment with this energy already. The negative polarity of this energy is irrationality, in the sense that you could get to the point where you think people are just stupid because they don't get the common sense that you can see. But people can't see the common sense. They can't see the rational things. They get wrapped up in their own experience. And fortunately, you have that communication energy, and you can then help to change their thought process so they could see the common sense. So these two energies together are actually very helpful for other people. You will be very good at helping other people to uncover their irrationalities, because we don't see them, do we?
So interesting. No, it's yeah, well, it makes sense of where I am right now in my life. Makes sense.
Good. So now we just talk a little bit about the soul groups of origination. And like I said, you originated first on Earth and spent maybe a couple of lifetimes here and decided it wasn't for you, and you've gone on to Spica. And because you originated here, you will feel very much a connection to the environment and the physical aspect of our Earth. And that whole healing Earth energies may be something that speaks to you, because that will be in alignment with you from day one. Mm-hmm. Now, at Spica, as I was saying, it's a very uncrowded area. Very few souls chose to incarnate there, and you spent many lifetimes there. And these people are visionaries. They hold a clear space for others. And when they hold that clear space for others, it's a neutrality that reflects the person's own energy back to them. And it can be scary for some people, because when you make that space available for somebody, they will see themselves very clearly. And some people do not want to see themselves clearly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so you may have a reaction from people at times because they don't want to see themselves. And then, of course, when they do that, they tend to get a bit uncomfortable.
Defensive.
Yes. Yes. So people with this energy, it's a wonderful energy, and it's very healing to people who do want to see themselves, but it can be very uncomfortable for those who don't. So It is a lovely thing to have, but it's also one of those gifts that you're not sure if it's a gift because of the way that people can react.
Yeah, well, I don't get a lot of that, but again, anyway, keep going. We'll just
Yes. Well, now we're going to get into the exciting bits. There were 4 soul stories that came up for you, and these are the blocks and restrictions. Now, only one of them is a past life story, and it is a story. I douse the records and say, help me to understand what exactly happened. And it may not have happened that way, but the words and the situation will bring about the right story for you to process how that might be affecting you in this lifetime. But the other 3 stories are present life stories. So I can't create a story because I won't know what's happened in your life, but I can tell you what's happened in your Akashic record because of these things. So the first soul story is a present life one. And this happened between the ages of 56 to 59. And I think this might have to do with the shell, but anyway, you can tell me that or not. And the energy that it created was misinformation. Now, this damaged both your heart chakra and the God spark at your heart chakra, plus your primary God spark. It also created what we call a golden web tear at your 6th chakra, which is difficulty accessing your own truth, not knowing exactly what you want, a lack of mental clarity.
totally.
And this will have also created a memory program, which is a group that will program our beliefs. So it could be that you might have gotten involved with a group of an organization or something that led you to believe certain beliefs. And during that belief situation, it will have become a very strong belief. You would, and it might have felt like a good thing, but it might also have been misinformation after you learned it, if that makes sense. Because there are 4 what we call negative thought forms that have been directed at you, sadly, during this time period. Now, that might be 4 people, it might be less people, but they've had negative thought forms about you based on what was going on in your life. And it all clouds around this misinformation. And for me, not knowing you, it would have I felt like this might have had something to do with the shell, but you may be able to see how this information is speaking to you for your intentions that you set.
I'm so confused.
Okay, that's all right. It can happen.
No, I mean, it's so interesting, because of course, I mean, Daniel passed away when I was 53. And then of course I felt it took me about 18 months to grieve,
Yes.
to feel it all. I wanted to feel it all because he deserved that. And I felt that's what I needed. I needed the time to be emotional, to be all the stuff that I needed to be. And I had never lost a husband before. I never lost, like I've had a lot of loss in my life, which is why I do what I do now. Yeah. But this was the person, this was the person I shared everything with, that we had plans, and he was healthy. And then he just, in 1 year, he was gone. Like 1 year he started falling, slurring, choking, losing, so in 1 year he went from cane, walker, wheelchair to dead. Wow. And so even though it was fast, it was the most traumatic year of my life. Yeah. And so I turned 53 in March of that year, and then he passed away in July. Wow. So 54, 55, and you're saying 56 to 59. So I'm trying to figure out what happened in those years. Like, that's when I tried to basically just started to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, because I hadn't worked in 20 years. I had to get a job. I had no money,
Well, did you do any training during that time period?
Well, yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. And that's what started me. Like during COVID, I got this job, and I was like #1 in the company. It gave me such a boost in self-esteem and ego and all of that, which I needed in order to come back to who I
Yes.
used to be.
Yes.
And because I have a natural sales ability, I just excelled.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was not fulfilled because I'm just selling stuff over the phone, which was like not what I wanted to do. But I was so good at it and I was making so much money. For the first time, I was making more money than I ever had in my life over the
Yeah.
phone, which I hate being on the phone talking to people. Like
Yeah.
it was like so opposite of who I am. Yet at the
Yeah.
same time, I was getting fed like you're amazing, like you're so talented, how are you doing what you're doing. They changed all their systems because I was designing my own stuff, like to
Wow.
make my life to make it easier, automating my own systems. And
Wow.
they implemented all of these. And then I said, I can't do this anymore. I said,
Yeah.
and they said, you can't leave. So they asked me to create a job for myself, but my brain doesn't work that way. I said, I don't know how to create a job for myself. I just can't
Yeah.
do this anymore over the phone. I have no energy to do, like I was doing it all day long, 15 people a day, back over and over, reading a script, doing it
Yeah.
well.
And
And
it's a
that
good
I
thing because
left
it
that
wasn't
job at
right for you.
57. I
Yeah.
left that job at 57. And then because I said, I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to get certified. So I got certified in nutrition coaching and then life coaching.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that is a good thing. The way that this formed, all of these blocks and restrictions, it does indicate that your beliefs changed. And if you were trained on something, some of that training will have been right for you, and some of it won't. And some of it is obviously, launched you in a great direction. But some of it you might still be holding on to, thinking, well, I've learned this and the rest of it's working, but this bit
oh
maybe
my God,
isn't
I think I know
aligned.
what you're talking about now, because the reason I left the company is because I thought I wanted to be a certified nutrition coach, because health is like, that's I like everybody says I look so young and all that stuff.
Yes, you
But
do.
so I thought that would be what I needed, but I always felt that I don't have a great story to tell. I was never overweight, so I can't be a weight loss coach, even though that's kind of what I was doing at the company. And I thought, oh, I can take that and do that on my own. And it never felt right. I never felt aligned with it. I just felt, no, life coaching makes more sense. So that's why I took the life coaching course, which made
Yeah.
a lot more sense to me. And lately I've been thinking, because my certification comes up for my nutrition coaching in January, because I had it for 2 years. And I said, I don't think I'm going to renew it because I just don't feel aligned with it, even though it's important. And I love that I learned all that. I just don't feel that I want to spend money or advertising that I'm a certified nutrition coach anymore, because I'm not that anymore. I'm
Uh-huh.
taking it off. I'm going to be taking it off my website. That's what I've been thinking
Yeah.
over the last week.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
maybe that's what it is.
It very well might be. I don't know what the negative thought forms that have been directed at you are.
Yeah,
Might have been, but I
I
can
don't know.
see how that will have affected you if it's, but it sounds like it's a bit stronger than just that, if that makes sense.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because
It's something to let sit, and you may find what the energy is. The good news is that you will get homework at the end of all of this to do
okay.
for 21 days. It just takes 3 minutes a
Oh,
day.
do you know
So,
I just wrote a journal prompt, 21-day journal prompt.
oh wow.
Like I've been but it's not going, nobody wants it. Like, it's just, I can't, like, it's
Yeah.
really frustrating for me.
Yes, well,
So
maybe it was meant because you were supposed to do this for yourself, and then it will blossom into what it is. But for 21 days, you'll just go through a clearing homework, and it's
okay.
going to clear all these blocks and restrictions, even if you can't figure out what they are right now.
Oh, okay.
It's going to
I
clear
love
this
that.
energy.
Okay. I love it.
And
I'm very excited about that.
it creates a clean slate for you going forward. And
Okay.
so
I need it.
basically, you are in alignment. You do understand a lot about your energies. And what this is going to do, the homework is just going to clear that. Instantly, you are cleared. But the 21 days is all about creating new habits in our brain, because it takes
Good.
us a while to change our
21
habits.
days. 21 days to change a habit. I know. So I say
Yeah.
that in my journal prompt.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Maybe I was emoting what this was going to happen. And
I think you
that's,
were pulling the, well, and that's another thing I want to point out. A reading is lovely and it's fun and it's good. It's a wonderful experience, but everything that you're hearing in this reading is stuff that you can do for yourself. If you feel a clouding of energy, you can just take a moment, pause, and say, I don't need this clouding of energy. I want clarity, and I want to clear whatever's clouding my energy. And when you intend it, it's as simple as that.
Oh, that's
We as
so,
human
it's
beings,
a
we like
relief.
rituals, but
It's
we
a
don't need
relief to
them.
just hear it. It's a relief to just hear it, because I always go, I don't know what to do in order to get what I want. Like I believe in manifestation. I believe in the law of attraction, but I go, nothing's working for me.
Yes.
Like I
Yeah.
was blocked, and I know that there's a clearing. I feel there's a clearing, but just getting this affirmation makes me so strong. Like I feel powerful.
Yes, and you are. And you
I feel
are,
the energy. Do
because,
you feel that?
well, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
We are creators of our own
Yeah.
lives. And we can, when we realize that all of our choices are choices that we make, and we may feel like some of them are forced on us, but we can still make a different choice. That's when we can start making things happen that are very exciting for us. So,
And they can happen faster when you're in alignment in a high vibe frequency. And that's what I need. And that's what I want, because
yeah.
I'm not going to die tomorrow. I know that. But I just, being 59, like I think 60, like what I used to think about 60 is like, cane
I
and
know the
old.
feeling.
And that's not
Yeah.
me.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's also, I don't believe 60 is 50 was halfway through your life. I think you're past middle age, because, even though my father's 96 and his father lived to over 100, I don't expect to live that long. And maybe I don't even want to, but I don't feel I have a lot of time to do what I want to do. So I want to manifest,
Yes.
you know,
There is no better time than the present, but that's not part of the reading. That's just me
yeah,
and my
yeah,
beliefs.
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So your second soul story is another present life situation, and this happened between the ages of 36 to 40, and it is a general time period because, like I said, the Akashic records don't. So it might be slightly before that, might be slightly after that, but it's around that time period. Now you had a golden web scar at the first chakra, which can cause a feeling of ungroundedness and sense of misplacement. And usually this is trouble integrating into family or society. Something might have happened around that time period. Now, this would have caused memory highlighted, which is when we do things again and again and again the same way, expecting it to be different, but we just keep doing it the same way. It can accompany OCD and PTSD or phobias and things like that. And it also mentions 2 implants at that time, and they are physical implants. They can be dental implants, they can be earrings, they can be all sorts of things these days. And so, but basically it's saying that these implants, they don't need to be removed. The clearing homework will retune them so that they are in alignment with your energy. But for whatever reason, they're just not in alignment with you at the moment.
So interesting. Because I have a really good memory. So I'm just thinking, because 33, I moved to Mexico, and we lived in Puerto Vallarta for 4 years. So that's 33, 34. So I was probably in Puerto Vallarta, and I know I got a belly button piercing, which I let close up a few years ago.
Okay.
But I had it for years. I really liked it. And then I was like, I don't want it anymore. They didn't do a very good job. And then between 36 and 40, it have to be dental, because I've never been in the hospital, never had any surgery other than I had my nose done, but that was, Daniel was here, it was 2015. But so that was only a few years ago, but 36 to 40, actually I got it's possible I got all of my amalgams removed.
So it might have to do with that, because then there might be some dental work that's just not in alignment.
I've had like I have issues like the only thing that I really have been concerned about is my teeth, because I mean I had one missing here and now I have one missing over here, and I feel like, you know, I don't look like I should have missing teeth,
Yeah.
but it's just
Well, I've got
oral dental stuff. And I don't believe in root canals and all that stuff, but I've had to have a few in the last couple of years, which is really, and I feel like I'm going to have another one. And it's really upsetting to me. So it could be dental for
Okay.
sure, because that's the only it's the only time I've had any surgery is in my mouth.
Okay.
And then I had my nose because I had a nasal issue.
Yeah.
I still do.
Well, one thing
So
I forgot to mention about all of these things was that the energy that the word that the energy was around is abstinence. And it doesn't mean abstinence from sex necessarily, it means abstinence from something. And so the scar and the ungroundedness and the memory highlighted, and the implants, which sounds like it probably has something to do with the teeth aspect of things. It will, something will be pulling together from all of these things, and it will cause you to create negative choices in your life based on it. Not negative in a bad way, don't get me wrong, just not an alignment for you. And your clearing homework will clear it, whether you can figure out what it is or not.
yeah. Well, I had actually had LASIK in one eye, but that I think it was 42. So 40
Yeah,
or 40. I was over 40 when I had that done.
yeah.
But yeah, I can't think of the belly button piercing could be because that's something, but I can't think of in those years in my 40s. I remember we were living here in my 40s. So
Yeah.
but that's okay. We'll
Okay.
figure it out.
All right.
As long as it gets cleared, that's all that matters.
Exactly. Exactly. And it is. It's going to be cleared. So next we have a excuse me, a soul story that's a past life.
Okay.
And so just roll with this in the
I'm
sense
interested. I've
the,
always wanted to know.
but it may not be exactly factual to your exact past life, because all I can do with the Akashic records is ask, what was this in relation? Was this a church, or what was the word? And then I douse based on a chart, you know, and so I'm not getting full information, but I do create a little story that hopefully brings out the energy of what happened. So in your most recent lifetime, and I do like to look at things as parallel lives as well, so it's your closest last lifetime, you incarnated as a female. You came from a very religious family, and it was expected that you would follow that church as well. You didn't want to, but you surrendered to that, and you gave away your free will to that church. You felt like you had no choice because of your upbringing. You did have a choice, but lots of times we do have these things where we feel like we have no choice. So because of this, you were not living your life, this last life, in alignment with your own energy. You were living the church's life and doing what they wanted you to do. And during that time period, because of all of that, you started to feel a feeling of disempowerment. And this energy is what's carrying through into this lifetime. You did what you should out of obligation. That was a constraint on you that caused this disempowerment. Another interesting thing about this past life story was that another church member who was your best friend, so because you couldn't really have friends outside the church, but you found somebody who you did resonate with in the church. You developed a contract with this person, and that person helped to protect you, because when you're living out of alignment, it's not protection from other things, but it's protection from our own selves, because we do berate ourselves when we're not in alignment. And she said, I'm going to protect you and you protect me, because this is all a bit crazy, but we're stuck and we got to do it. Now, she decided when she passed, she said, I'm going to keep protecting you. I'm past, I'm fine, but I'm going to keep protecting you. And that energy is carried through into this lifetime. And that disempowerment energy has followed you, and this protection contract with this other soul is one-sided now because she's not there for you to protect. In your homework, it can just instantly be released and cleared. She can then go on about what she's doing and incarnate into her next life. She doesn't feel like she needs to uphold this protection for you because you're not in that situation anymore. But because the two of you made that contract, it's been following you.
That's strong.
Yes.
So interesting, because I have such an issue with religion.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Yeah, well, because
That makes sense.
because the things that happened when I was growing up, like when my sister married her first husband, my family, like my parents went to church here and there, but they weren't really religious, like,
Yeah.
but they believed in God and all that stuff. And I used to go to Sunday school and I hated it. Like I said, I don't want to go there. It's not doing anything for me. So they allowed me to make that decision. So that was empowering as a kid.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to church with the grownups. I didn't want to be with the kids also. So, but I didn't really do either of those.
That
But
speaks
when
to
my
divine wisdom. So yes.
yeah, there you go. And I just said, this is doing nothing for me. I'm not learning anything here. This is not, I'm not in alignment, but I didn't say that. I didn't know that word. But my sister got married to an Italian who was Roman Catholic. And when they decided to get married, his parents wanted it in the Roman Catholic Church. And my parents said, no fucking way that's happening. So these arguments that were happening in the family, I was like, are you kidding? Like, no, neither of them are religious. Why don't they, like, this is really ridiculous. And I was 14. It's like, this is fucked up.
Oh, wow.
And and then that or the next year, I met somebody who was also from a very religious family. And they went to church every Sunday, like really religious. I was like, oh God, and then he asked me to go to Christmas Catholicism, whatever they do. And I started crying. I said, I don't feel right here. I don't want to be here.
Wow.
Like it was so like this is not for me. And I just got chills because I forgot about that. This just I didn't even think I was going to talk about that relationship. And then it came up because it's bringing up all the religious stuff that happened to me. And that's why now when I say I'm spiritual, not religious, I'm not against it. Whatever you believe in, keep it to yourself.
Yes.
I'll keep it to me. I only want to talk to spiritually aligned people. And but I said all the wars in the world are caused because you don't believe what I believe. Like all the wars are religious. It's all religious and politics, and it drives me crazy. So I've come to the conclusion that if you believe something, it makes you a better person and you feel great about it, but just don't push your shit on me, and I'll keep, just love. And and most of the religious people are the ones that are telling everybody what to do. And it's like, that's not what Jesus wanted, according to what I understand, but that's why this makes so much sense to me now, why I'm feel so strongly about it.
Yes. Well, clearing this will
At 14.
clear that energy, but at the same time, it's clearing the disempowerment. You may still have a dislike of churches.
Oh no, I don't think that will change. It's not going to change who I am, but it will allow me. When I understand myself better, it makes me a better person. It makes me like, oh, I can breathe, I can relax. Now I get it. It makes sense. That's all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's at least we have one soul story that's kind of made a little bit of sense there today.
Totally, it makes so much sense.
Okay, now the fourth soul story is a present life pattern as well. And this talks about two implants, but they're not physical, they're etheric, which means they're like a software program running in the background. This happened between the ages of 50 to 55, and it will have been a very traumatic experience for you. And there's these two programs that have been running in your emotional body, and it allows you to sustain negative choices. Those negative choices are a coping mechanism. So you're coping somehow, some way, and choosing to do that, knowing it's not really what I need to be doing, but I feel like I have to. So these are just these programs.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's all about my husband and that traumatic, because 50 to 55, again, at 50 years old, I was 50, he was 63. We lost everything. We lost our beachfront home. We lost all of our assets. We loaned money to a friend who was not a friend. we were basing our entire retirement on this promise,
Oh,
and we ended up borrowing, like we paid cash for a $700,000 home because we were doing that well.
yeah.
And we loaned money. The bottom fell out of the real estate market. We,
Oh.
at May 30th of 2014, we had to leave our beautiful home that we designed ourselves right on the beach. And my husband was never the same after that, because we worked really hard for that.
Yeah.
And he never really recovered from that.
Yeah.
And then that same year, we had a Category 5 hurricane that destroyed the entire town. And that was the scariest night of my life. Was that hurricane scared me. I never really, everyone in this town has PTSD from that hurricane, because it destroyed this town. It took months to get things back together. And then we decided to drive up to San Diego just to get out of town after that, like whatever we had left.
Yeah.
And the owner of the house we were renting said, I guess the house was broken into. And so I went right into menopause. I went right into menopause. My body just said, stress,
Yeah.
can't deal. So I went right into menopause that day.
Oh,
It aged me a lot. So that was 50.
oh.
and then Daniel dies 3 years later. So 50 to 55 was
Not a good time.
the most traumatic part of my life.
It was.
Next to losing my brother was killed in a car accident when I was 22, 23. So that was the most traumatic thing that happened to our family. And then my mom died of cancer a few years later. So that's why I do what I do now.
Yeah,
but
you do understand grief quite a bit. Wow, you've experienced it. Wow.
And I grieve them all alone. I realized when I write about it, I realized that when my brother died, I wasn't in a relationship. My parents were in Florida. They used to go to Florida every year. My sister was in her second marriage. My other brother was married. They were all married. And I was basically alone, and made some stupid choices. And I was extremely promiscuous in my 20s, extremely. And then my mom died a few years later. And my mom, I know that we were best friends in another relationship or something, because we were so close. Everybody in the family could see how close we were. They thought I was going to be destroyed. And I grieved her when she was alive, because I was able to have closure with her. I didn't get that with my brother. He died in a car accident. He was gone. I had the gift of saying goodbye to her, asking her what she wanted. It was a true gift.
Wow.
So when she died, it was like, oh, she's not in pain anymore. She doesn't have to live with my father anymore. Oh, what a gift. And he's still here torturing us at 96. That's a whole other story.
Yes, I sympathize with you there. I lost my mom at 21, and my father lived until last year. And my mom was the angel.
My mom was an angel on earth. I say that all the time.
Yeah. So I do. I feel a little bit of affinity for that situation there.
Yeah.
So the other things about this particular pattern that I wanted to talk about and have you know is that there are portal ways that are connected to not this world, so to speak, in past lives. And we don't need to know about those past lives, but you still have these open because of all of this trauma. And you will be closing them in your homework, because they will let you let go of things that are not right for you. And it will have been affecting your sleep, because the things that you process in your daytime, sorry, I said that wrong. The things that happen in your daytime and your emotions get processed when you go to sleep at night. And when this is pointing out, the third and fourth dimension is where you're having trouble with your sleep at the moment. And it may be that not at the moment, it's something that started between 50 and 55. And you may wake feeling stressed or anxious. And so by clearing this, it will clear that and allow you to process your day's events at night and your emotions when you're asleep, and wake up feeling revived instead of stressed and anxious. So you may get better sleep going after you clear this.
Okay, well that's good to know. I mean, sleep to me is the most important thing. It's when I don't sleep, I get sick. And I just wrote a post. I said I haven't been sick since 2009. I haven't had cold, sniffles, nothing. And then, but again, the transition that happened to me this year is after 4 years of living in the same place, I just moved, and that caused all this trauma to come up from Daniel's death, because I moved 3 times after he passed away. Very traumatic for me to have to pack. I was putting off packing for weeks. I packed in the last 3 days because I just couldn't do it. Like I just
Yeah.
didn't want to do it. I was doing anything, procrastinating like crazy.
Yeah.
And I finally moved, and I'm so relieved. I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be, even though it's basically just one room. It's like a glorified hotel room,
Yeah.
but I had to move. I wasn't in alignment with that place anymore.
Yes.
I wasn't asked to leave because he was just mad at me for being mad at him. And I've known him for 20 years. But when he says, maybe this is just a transition in place for you, in Spanish. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this has been my home for 4 years. Like my whole life was like in one moment was changed.
Yeah.
And then one psychic friend of mine and my breathwork persons both said to me, you should move. And what my psychic said, if you're not going to move now, it's okay, but you're going to be moving in November. So make a decision. I said, I don't want to move in November. I want to move during hurricane season. I want to move now. And so, and now that I'm here, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad. Like this morning, I'm like, I'm so glad I'm here. Like, I can't believe I live so small, but I'm so glad I'm here. Like I felt a lifting.
And it may be that the energy of this space is right for you, and you can clear space anyway. You don't have
Yeah,
to.
I know you have that on the
Yeah.
thing, but I knew I didn't need to clear the space. I need to clear me.
Yeah. So it's very healing. So that's good. That is very
Although I
good.
preferred the price of the other one. I decided to do that.
That's
Just saying.
understandable. That's understandable, but
I
unfortunately,
know.
prices can usually keep us somewhere where sometimes we shouldn't be.
Yeah, but this is what I needed. So,
Yeah.
you know, I just let it go. As soon as I just said, let it go. Like, it wasn't a difficult decision because I said, this is what I need. I didn't want even the one down from this. I wanted the whole experience because I knew that's what I needed. So
exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
And you are living in alignment with your energy. These blocks and restrictions that have come up are based on whatever intentions you will have set. It does based on I felt only at 57 that I knew what my purpose was, but now I'm not so sure. This is addressing these things, and only you can figure out how that affects you based on those present life experiences. But the thing is, you're able to clear this energy in your home. Once you decide it's cleared, boom, it's cleared.
Well,
And
I saged my place a week okay, so it was because I had this launch. I help a friend with a launch so this last 2 weeks has been crazy busy, but it was so the Sunday, yeah, I saged the place. I found it. I said, I know I have it somewhere because I don't have much anymore, but I know I brought it with me. And so I found it, and it was like so small because
that's
we
all
had
right.
used it.
It's just the
But
smell.
I cleared every corner. I said whatever. I don't even know what I said because I'm not that spiritual, like in knowing what to say, but I just said, I want to clear the space. I want to clear the energy. If there's anything negative here, something like that. And
that's all you have to do. It's just,
yeah,
you don't even have to say it, although for you with communication, saying it
I
probably
needed to
is
say
helpful.
it. I need to say it out loud, and my dog was looking at me, but that's okay.
It's all right. That's all right. And just your intention of having it cleared
Yeah.
is actually what sets it to clear. So that's, and it's the same way with any blocked energy or feeling of stuckness that you might have. Just when you acknowledge it, say thank you. Obviously,
Okay.
you're here for a reason. Bring my attention to what it is. Give me the information that I need, and then go. And let it go. And it will, because you're intending for it to be cleared.
Okay,
So,
that's helpful. These little things are big to me because you just feel like sometimes I just go, I just don't even want to think about it because I can't move forward.
yes.
I need to move forward, and I need to know those little tips to me are big. So thank you.
No worries, no worries. Now I know we're a little bit over time, but did you want to tell me what your intentions were that you set for this after the fact? And then we can have a little talk about that?
I didn't know what to do. I just wanted to, I think probably clarity. And I think I've got, I said, I have to trust that that everything happens for a reason. So when I trust that, I don't really second guess it, because I could just go on and on and on about stuff. And that's just not who I am. So I just prefer to trust the process, and that it would, again, it didn't, the emails didn't come through. They probably didn't come through because they didn't need to.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
it caused certain events to happen, and it made me a little bit confused about things. But then I went, well, that's all right. We'll carry on with this. But at the same time, I do agree, things happen for a reason. And so
yeah,
the
I'm not
reading
worried
is
about it.
what
No,
it
this
is, but
was
it sounds like
incredible.
knowing that communication, the written word, is how you use your communication, it sounds like, and the wisdom. Those two very powerful energies are what you're already living in alignment with them, but knowing that helps you to continue living in alignment with them.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest criticism of myself that I've been reflecting on a lot is I'm not a good communicator verbally, because I think it could be a block that I have. Like maybe I'm afraid to get close to people, like, because I've known people for years. Like the coffee shop that I go to is the place that Daniel, I wheeled him in there a week before he died in his wheelchair. I fed him coffee through a tube because he had to have his coffee. He just wanted to feel normal.
Yeah.
And this woman that owns the coffee shop, like, gave us free coffees for a year. I don't drink coffee, but I had tea. But like, she saw, like, and she helped us with the cremation because he died in the house. Well, he died in the house, and I didn't know, but when people die in a house here, the police have to come, and she didn't want that for us because she knew he was sick. It wasn't like he was killed or anything like that.
Yeah.
So she talked to the funeral people, saying, look, don't call the police, but this is really tragic, so she doesn't need any more trauma. So, and she helped with the papers, because there's all these papers you have to do here for cremations and all this stuff. So but when I go, like, I say hi to everybody, but I don't have conversations with people. Like, I don't know if it's something that because I don't want to get close to people, or if it's just that I'm that antisocial that I really don't care.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm still, those are the blocks,
Yeah.
but that's been that way my entire life. There's very few people that I like, even my girlfriend of 40 some odd years, and she's my best friend, and I don't really like to have best friends, but she came down here to help me with Daniel. Like, she flew down, she didn't ask, she just came.
Yeah.
And she took over. I don't like people taking over because I can take care of stuff, but I was so exhausted from taking care and picking him up off the floor, wiping his ass, giving him enemas every day, whatever I had to do. And she just said, go out. And that day, that was the day that he completely lost his voice, because we were communicating via WhatsApp for the last 3 months, because I couldn't understand him any longer, because it was slurring, but I could understand him. But then we were texting each other, and that day the phone fell out of his hand, and he kind of, like, that was it. And she came that day, and I said, we've been communicating, now we can't communicate. When I got back from the grocery store, she had the alphabet written out, she had phrases written out, and we could communicate once again. Like, honestly, it makes me cry. I wrote a post about it going, this is what friendship is.
Oh, wow.
She
That's so
just saved me.
beautiful.
And then I had to move out of this 3-bedroom house. She packed up pretty much everything because I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And and I don't talk to her for months. And we WhatsApp, she WhatsApp, and when we talk for like an hour, but it's okay because she gets it.
Yes.
You know, like, my friends get that, but I just feel bad that I don't connect with people. Like, I don't have really any friends here that I can confide in about anything, because I just don't get that close. And it could be because I've suffered a lot of loss. I don't know.
And it might also be you're speaking a soul group of origination.
Well, now I can use that as an excuse.
Yes, you can. You were a loner, and you wanted to be a loner because you chose to be there.
I love my time by myself. I really don't feel I'm missing out, you know? I really don't.
I feel the same way myself, but that's just because I'm an introvert. But anyway,
I am an INFJ.
Yes,
I wrote about Oh my God. See, I wrote about that. I'm an INFJ, but I was dancing like a crazy person because
Yeah,
we're not, it doesn't mean that we don't like to have fun or that we can't be
exactly.
extroverted. It's just that we prefer to do it our way.
Yes.
And I can talk, and I used had a live event show on LinkedIn. I can be very gregarious,
Yeah.
but I don't really like people.
Yes.
Like I prefer my
That's the
dog,
divine wisdom right there.
right? And I say that. I said, I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm just not a people person, but I can be, and I seem like I am because and I got people talking to me like who just met me and they said, I get such great energy from you. And I feel like I know you. I feel like this and that. And I said, oh my
Exactly.
God, thank you so much. But I didn't even have to talk to them. But it's good. I want people to feel that they can approach me and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm very guarded, especially with
Understand.
men, because men always just want to have sex or something like that. And it's like, I
Yeah,
just don't
they're
want that around me. And that's
exactly.
why I deal with women. Like I'm a grief support coach.
Yeah. Well, I did finally see your LinkedIn thing.
Okay.
I was trying so hard not
I
to say
know.
things, but I
I
did end
know.
up
That's
saying
okay.
something.
That's okay. But that's why I do what I do. But again, I'm not getting a lot of clients. It's really, really hard. So that's why I said I'm lost because I can't go on like this.
Yeah.
Um, I'm okay. Now we can talk about business, but I did see your course for what you do, and that very much excites me. And,
Yeah. Well, she does a wonderful job. I call her my mentor, but at the same time, I've basically taken the soul practitioner course. And
oh, so
oh,
that's not your course. That's somebody else's.
yes, it is someone else's. It's not my
Oh,
course.
oh, I thought
I'm
it was
doing
yours.
a
Okay.
webinar to talk about it, but
Oh, okay.
I'm not teaching it because it's her intellectual property.
Oh, okay. So for some reason I thought it was you, and then I realized the name was different. So okay. But I
Yeah.
was thinking, but do you think I should do that?
I'm
Or
not going to say yes or no because if it's one of those things where I had people who like, I really want to do your course, the one that I took, and I'm like, well, not everybody really will get as much out of it as I did. I
right.
had a soul reading; it changed my life. I felt like that's what I needed to do. I needed
Yeah.
to move ahead and help people in the same way that I was helped. And so I took the same course that the person who gave me a soul reading ended up taking. Fortunately, I got it on deal because she does do deals every now and then. And so I'm just pointing that out. Look for the
Yeah.
deals if you do decide to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just that I'm just trying to figure out what I like because something's not in alignment. So I guess once I do the clearing,
But
that
you
will
are in
help me.
alignment. Yeah, give yourself
Yeah,
the 21
but
days homework and you understand your energy. You already don't fall into the negative polarity of your energy because you eliminate situations where it doesn't suit you or you
right,
address it. And then if it doesn't work out from addressing it, you say, nope, I'm just cutting ties. And that
right.
is brilliant. People can't, that's really hard for people to do.
Yeah, it's easy for me.
But
But
you
again,
are in
that's what
alignment.
my brother's death did for me is that if somebody can die like that, like I just had lunch with him like 3 days before and then he's all of a sudden gone. I was like, it was a shock
Yeah.
to all of us. My parents have never been the same since, of course. But I just said, I can't, the pain is too much to not learn something from it. So I said, what can I learn from this that is going to make this okay? And it was not wasting time with people and things that didn't matter anymore. And so I cut people out of my life. I probably went a little bit too far because I can do that. I can be very drastic, but I did do that. And I said, I'm not dealing with stupid. I'm not dealing with bullshit.
Mm.
And so that no nonsense part of me came out in 1987. And I've been that way ever since. And my father was like that too. Like my father cut off his own father in the 70s and his father lived to 108 and you never saw
Wow.
him, you
Wow.
know, so so it was kind of like, so I thought that's where that came from was seeing that
If
my
he did it.
father could
Yeah.
do that. So I think that's
Well,
part of it.
it
That's what he modeled
reinforced
for
it.
us. Cut
Yeah.
off your family if you don't like them.
I've done it myself.
But I think it's very valuable if that's what you feel. But, you know, he also cut our grandfather off from us as well. But my dad had a tough time with his dad. I understand everybody has their story, and I have a tough time with him, you know, and when Daniel was sick and I didn't hear from my father at all, I basically told him to go fuck himself. I said, like, you know, how dare you? Like, it was the most traumatic time, and not to ask how I'm doing. Fuck off. Who are you?
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, I will let you go, but thank you so much. This was amazing.
You're very welcome. I'll send over the recording link once it's processed, and what I do is I upload it to an unlisted video link on YouTube, so nobody can see it except for anyone that has the link. So you can share it if you want, but basically, if you don't share it, you're the only one that'll have that link. So
okay, well, I appreciate that, because
send you your homework, of course, so that you can read through, and it will bring up some of these things, and it may, as you're reading through, you go, oh, that's that, and it might resonate with you. Over the 21 days, you may have thoughts about this. If you have any questions, try to ask me in the next 48 hours, because your reading will be very fresh in my mind in the next 48 hours. And then after that, you've got other people to talk to. I'm not the only person in your life. Sorry. No, but I do try to limit myself to a reading a week, or maybe 2 readings a week, because that's as much energy as I do. And so that's where the 2 days comes from, because when I start working on another one, my brain starts to go off onto someone else's energies. So totally understand. Thank you so much. And I'll definitely write you a recommendation. Oh, you're amazing. Thank you. I do have it in my paperwork, because I don't like to actually ask, but I know most people don't, but you should ask, because yes. Everybody that I've ever met that I've paid to do something has asked me for a recommendation, and it's not an easy thing to do, but it is a necessary thing to do for your business. But I will definitely do that. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Heather. But do keep in touch. We're going to see each other on Facebook, on LinkedIn now. So LinkedIn. I'll be able to see what's happening, but let me know how things are going as well. So I will. Thank you so much. All right. You're welcome. Take good care. You too. Bye. Bye-bye.